All right, Shalom boys here. Welcome to the Covenant. It's a topic that I have to revisit because I talked about it on a previous video, and that's the notion of homesteading coming out, making the transition. What do you do when high costs and high inflation? And the challenge that a lot of people are having is that they may have a house that they want to sell, but they can't sell it because of the situation when it comes to the economy. Nobody's really buying houses anymore like that because interest rates just now went up. And so that means that, if you don't, now I'm talking about perfect credit. You talk about 7% interest rate with perfect credit, let alone if you have a 600 or 700 credit score. That's just the average entry point. That's 700 in order to get, financing. But job market, inflation, cost of living, all this stuff is having an impact on people being able to move, sell their home, move, and take that equity or take whatever they have to move to another situation. So, what is the solution? 10 years ago, when I purchased this property, it's amazing. It's been 10 years. We were in a different time. You could save money. You could, leverage the system like I did. So we're living in different times, and people, we understand that now, but it's going to have a direct result on the ability of a lot of people to move. So, what do you do? And this comes to the option of community, of people pulling their resources together in order to get what they need. Now, because inflation, again, because of the cost of living inflation, it's just going to be a whole lot more difficult for people to make the transition. So if you have been able to make the transition, either from a community perspective or from a homesteading perspective, you're really blessed, and you're out there and you're making it happen. You're laying down infrastructure. You're putting up the infrastructure that you need. You're doing your gardening. You're doing your animal husbandry. You're doing your chicken coops. You're doing your you're doing all of these things. You're actively doing it. You're in a good position. But for those who are not in that situation, and you want to make the transition, you're going to have to make some steep sacrifices. So if you got, people, now, there's people that's building communities, there's people, I'm talking about all over. I'm just not talking about even in, what we call the faith. There are all manners of people and families that's getting together and trying to pull their resources together to do this thing. And I see it. I talk to these people on social media, and I subscribe to their Facebook channel or their YouTube channels. I'm in the groups, so I'm seeing what's going on. So you're gonna have to understand that you're gonna have to make sacrifices, and those sacrifices are steep. What do they look like? Well, it's gonna look like this. You pull your resources together with a couple of people and you buy land straight out, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we always recommend and advocate that we buy land straight out. So after you buy that land straight out, what you can do is you can set up some tents, right? And, solar, in these little solar generators, you can run a refrigerator, you can run your cookware for propane. You can get a canopy for relatively cheap. And now, a campfire, just make it like a long-term, like campfire type situation where you can stay warm in a tent. I mean, if you get one of them duck tents, they're all season tents. You can put a wood stove in it. You can get a couple. Now you can have this all set up for, you know what I'm saying, just a couple of $1,000 as opposed to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can be on a land with somewhere to cook, somewhere to shower, somewhere to lay and rest your head, refrigeration and stuff for, $3,000-5,000, especially if you're pulling your resources together. Everybody can share in that. It's doable. I mean, that's the only way, to do it now if you don't have the resources to go ahead and buy these things straight out. Um, there is no other way, and it's going to be difficult. You know what I mean? You know, it can be relatively comfortable. I've done it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it. I'm going to set it up again just to show you folks how you can go about doing it. But you can set up a little small generator. Propane. Griddle, gas grill, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff where you can have a nice, good, clean meal. Cook for yourself. You can have a little outdoor shower system. I mean, these things are not expensive, especially if you have 2 or 3 people that you can get together and pull these resources together with, because regardless of what the economy is doing, the price to develop land it's going to go as well subsequently go up. And a lot of things that you purchase on a piece of property, they're cash deals. This is why I recommend Facebook Marketplace. This is why I recommend barter, local trade shows, consignment shops, going to, where else? All of that stuff. The cold cart on Lowe's or Home Depot, getting, just the storing stuff, and in time as you get it up, then you can go ahead and get it done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, one of the things that I want to do is I want to replace my roof. Now, it's not leaking, you know what I'm saying? But I've been storing the red material necessary. As you see that red right there, I use one of those slabs to build a raised bed, but I got a lot of that stuff that's going to be going on my new roof, and I got all of the lav. I got the screws. I got the I don't have all of the metal, but as soon as I get all the metal, boom, I can go ahead and put that thing up because I know how to do it. I all got the trim. I got all of the mini corners. I got all necessary to do the whole thing. And I was not able to, or I was able to get the material either for free or at greatly reduced prices. So this is how it's done. You got to think outside the box. You got to look for those deals. You got to pull your resources together. So this is why, if you don't have the ability to go out and buy land yourself, because that's the inclination. What I've noticed over many, many years, just 10 years of just being in this and living this thing, that if people have resources to buy some land and they think that they can get it done, even though a lot of people, they can't get it done. That's a whole nother thing right there. Just because you think you can do something, or you have a little cash or whatever, you know what I'm saying, that don't mean that you're capable of doing something of this magnitude. However, people that have the resources or have the cash and have the skill set, I've been around and I've seen them, and you can tell when somebody got what it takes. You know what I'm saying? And I can immediately tell. And the people that I've seen, they got what it takes, and then others, most of them, they don't have what it takes. But neither here nor there. I digress. People that have resources are going to tend to go ahead and buy their own land and start a homestead, as opposed to people that, now I'm not saying not all, because people going to try and, box me in. But people that have lesser resources, don't have the resources to do everything, they'll go ahead and they'll go in with other people. And that's a good thing. I think that even that is a better option. Because of what's necessary to go in to it. But, as we see, when you're dealing with people, and this is what a lot of people want to avoid, drama in situations, you know what I'm saying? But the idea is that that's what you can do. Vetting, discernment, knowing who you should be getting involved with and trusting, that's a whole different subject or topic of discussion. But great idea, something that you should do. Because this requires resources and work, and if you're not in a situation where you can innovate, it's just not going to work. But y'all stay encouraged. This is how you can get it done if you have limited resources. 10. little solar generator, some piece of paid for land, and work and build your resources and do it from there. All right, shalom.